A shocking Red Bull elimination, Sainz takes pole in Singapore, and a big shunt for Stroll. Let's get into the latest in the F1 world from a shaken up quali in Singapore. Carlos Sainz took pole position in a chaotic qualifying session in Marina Bay that was full of shock and surprises. The Ferrari pace had looked strong throughout the weekend, and today the Scuderia solidified their place at the front of the field with Carlos on pole and Charles Leclerc not far behind in P3. Staying out of trouble was the name of the game, as many drivers were investigated after the session for impeding. Carlos managed the session perfectly, giving him the edge to take pole despite the very narrow margins across the top three. Carlos said he didn't expect to get pole in Singapore, but he put together a very clean lap. He also feels that having two cars in the top three will play to their advantage in the Grand Prix, seeing it as a great opportunity. Charles Leclerc joins his teammate in the top three, with the Ferrari split by George Russell, who was able to find pace from the Mercedes where his teammate Lewis Hamilton couldn't. Do you think Carlos can hang on to P1 in the race? We had a shock double elimination in Singapore as both Red Bulls went out in Q2. In a horrific qualifying session for the team, both Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez found themselves out in Q2, with Max in P11 and Sergio in P13. It's been a tough and unpredictable weekend for the team so far, and despite some confidence that things could be solved over Friday night, both drivers struggle for rear grip and with tyre management. Sergio's fate was sealed by a spin in Sector 1 at the start of his final push lap, caused by an under-delivery of power, while Max suffered a small moment in the same place and was pushed out of the session by Liam Lawson in his AlphaTauri. Speaking after qualifying, Checo said that the team had been playing around with the car all weekend, and any changes they made seemed to make any issues worse, and it seemed to be a similar story on Max's side of the garage. Max said he knew pole would be tough, but he didn't expect it to be that bad, and that the whole session was a shocking experience. Max was later given a reprimand and Red Bull a fine for some impeding incidents through the session, a lucky escape on an already difficult day. Though we'd usually expect out-of-position Red Bulls to race their way through the field, both drivers are confident in saying this won't be the case in the Grand Prix and that points will be the goal rather than the win or even a podium. What did you make of their quali session? Lance Stroll had a huge shunt on the main straight in Q1. Lance was pushing in the final corner in the closing moments of Q1 after seeing he was going to be out, but with little grip around found the wall on the main straight in a massive incident. Luckily he walked away from the crash and is okay, but the team will be working hard overnight to piece the car back together. Even with a repaired car, he'll be starting the race in P20, so he'll have a tough race ahead of him. On the other side of the Aston Martin garage, Fernando Alonso secured P7 and he'll be hoping to hang on to some points in the race. Liam Lawson has had an epic day in Singapore. The rookie driver has put in some impressive performances in the AlphaTauri since taking over for an injured Daniel Ricciardo, but today he took a step further and got into Q3 for the first time after only 3 weekends in F1 by knocking Max Verstappen out. This also meant Liam won the battle of the teammates at AlphaTauri, as Yuki could only manage P15, no doubt strengthening his case for being kept in the car for next season. Liam remained modest in speaking to the media, saying he didn't feel they maximised it all and there was still potential there. Having never raced in Singapore before, the race will be tough for Liam, but he's hoping to maximise all he can from the AlphaTauri. You're all caught up with the latest in the F1 world. What do you make of these stories? Let us know in the comments, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to Apex for the latest in the F1 world.